Hey guys, welcome back to Shay's Urban Edibles. Hey guys, welcome back to Shay's Urban Edibles. It's a beautiful fall afternoon here in Houston, Texas, Zone 9B. I did need to get a little bit more fall planting done, and I thought I'd bring you guys along. So come along. All right, so on a previous video, I planted this 50-gallon grow bag. All right, so on a previous video, I planted up this 50-gallon grow bag. I added in some mustards, and then I also have this cauliflower that's in here. I do have a second 50-gallon grow bag that I want to add more soil to. I'm also going to do some fall cabbages in this bed. I'll be doing the Cowboys cabbage, which is a red cabbage. It is the color of the red acre cabbage, but it's shaped like an early Jersey cabbage. So I'm going to plant those in here. I think I may have 4 or 5 of those. And then I'm also going to add another cauliflower here. So let's get started on adding this new bag of soil. I did opt to use a bag of the Kellogg soil, all natural raised bed potting mix. And the reason why is because it drains well and it's nice and fluffy for my sweet potatoes in the spring. So I'm going to top this bed off with the Kellogg's. And then if I still need more soil to fill it up, I have one of the potting soils that I used in a previous video that I can use to finish filling it up. All right, so this looks pretty good, but I think I still need a little bit more soil. One, because it's going to settle once I water it. And two, I want to have this cardboard covered. So I'm going to add a little bit more soil in here. Oh, I thought I cut it all the way open. I guess I missed a spot. All right, let's see how this looks. Maybe a little more. Oh, that was half a bag. I guess I'll finish using the rest of it, and hopefully that will be more than enough. Looks like it's perfect. Well, cardboard isn't quite covered, but this is going to have to do because I'm not adding any more soil in here. All right, so smooth all that out. I want to get, because cabbages are heavy feeders, well, actually medium feeders, I do want to get this soil amended still. It's too big. So let me grab my amendments and we can move forward with planting the cabbages and the cauliflower in here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add my organic all-purpose plant food, which is 444. So 4 parts nitrogen, which is good for the leafy green growth. Of course, cabbages need that because they're all leafy greens. Then it's 4-part phosphorus, which would be good for blooms if it had any. And then 4 parts potassium. Mix that in. And it's also good for the root structure. And we do want them to have nice, healthy root structures because that makes for more bigger, vibrant plants. You know what? There's just a little corner in here, so I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of it. All right. And then, like I said, I do have these cabbages. Let's see how many I got. That's 1 cowbos, 2 cowbos, 3 cowbos. There's 4 cowbos. All right, so that's 4 cowbos. And then I believe I'm going to add this. This is a cheddar cauliflower. Well, the cheddar cauliflower doesn't really get tall. It gets wide, not real tall. So I may want to switch this cauliflower out because these cabbages are not going to be real tall either. Let's see, what is this one? This one is a cheddar cauliflower as well. Let me go to my grow table and see what other color cauliflowers I have over there, because this one's not going to work. It's going to be short and fat just like the cabbages. All right, I was able to find this one. It is already kind of tall, so I'm thinking it's probably not a cheddar cauliflower, although it doesn't have a name tag in it. And so it may end up being a cheddar cauliflower. But for the most part, I'm going to go ahead, take my chances, and plant this one in here along with these Caldo's cabbages. So let me make the holes. Oops, can't be wasting that good dirt. And I'm going to amend each hole with a little bit of blood meal and a little bit of bone meal, just like I did with the other beds. And this one hasn't been opened. All right, we're good to go. Start here. Bone meal, blood meal, Caldo's cabbage. That soil up around there and press it in. Same thing for the next one. I already got the hole. I'm going to drop the blood meal in there. Bone meal. And then I will also be dropping this cabbage in there. I don't know, this looks like a Romanesco. It doesn't look like a Calbo's. Yeah, because the veins are not purple on this one, so this has to be a Romanesco. All right, so we won't be planting that one. We'll plant this one instead. That Romanesco is a cauliflower. This needs to go a little deeper. And so I suppose I could put that Romanesco in here because I know it's going to get a little on the tall side. This is full of leaf miners. Take that off. This one's going to die anyway. So I'm not going to plant this cauliflower. I'm going to plant this Romanesco in the middle. How about that? And I know it's a Romanesco. Blood meal. Bone meal. Cabbage. Yeah, they do look a little withered because they need to be watered. This is really dry. They've been sitting on my table and I've been kind of neglecting the garden since we got that big rain, thinking that there was enough rain to keep the plants covered, but apparently not. So I'm going to have to water this in pretty good once I get them all planted. All right, so we got all of the Calbos. That's 3 Calbos cabbages. I assumed I had 4. I'm going to go ahead and add here this Romanesco cauliflower. I should go ahead and add my support for these now because these Romanescos get pretty tall. Last year, I think I used the tomato cages for them. So I'll leave these in here so I'll know when I started the seeds. And when it's close to getting time to harvest. Although you could probably look at the plant and tell that. All right, so I want to put something else in that spot. I don't want to just leave it open. So I think I'll add maybe I can add a collard green there because I don't have too many collards out in the yard. All right, I did find this collard. I do believe it is a collard, so I'm going to put that over here. Because I got plenty of mustard greens. This is full of mustard greens. Then I have another bed over there that's got a couple of mustards in it and some red Japanese mustards and some Osaka purple mustards. And so I need more collards. So that's what I'm going to do. And this thing has been sitting over there in one of these little 4-inch pots, so it definitely needs some additional nutrition. And like I said, because this is organic, it won't burn your roots of your plants. So we should be okay to just put the plant directly in there. All right, so we got this one planted up. I need to get it watered in. Let me grab my water hose. Water these in, get those fertilizers activated in the soil so that the plant can start taking advantage of them. While I'm over here, I may as well go ahead and water these mustard greens. Now, I know you wouldn't normally water your spring crops over the top. You would always want to try to water close to the ground as possible. But with the fall crops like the brassicas, the water just rolls off of them, so it's okay to water them from the top. All right, that's done. A little more water over here. And that's more than enough because it's not soaking in as quick as I'd like it. All right. All right, folks. So that's it for this bed. All right. So y'all can see I already got a couple of cauliflowers over here, a cabbage there. I still want to add a couple of more things here. I'm going to put a cauliflower over here in this corner. And then I also plan on putting something here because I have this cabbage and this cauliflower here. This may be good for something a little smaller to the ground. So what I might do is go ahead and sprinkle some carrot seeds right there. See how that does. Or maybe drop a couple of onions. Either way, I'm going to put a cauliflower over in this corner for sure. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and plant a cauliflower here in this corner, the Romanesco cauliflower. Add a little blood meal, a little bone meal. And we'll add it all. That bag's almost empty. And get this Romanesco in there so it can get going. It's a little small compared to the other ones. It looks to be very wet, so I'm not going to water it too much once I put it in here. And there we have it. It's in there. No other big vegetables can go here. I could probably, like I said, maybe some beets or something that I can sprinkle over here in this section so that the bed's not just empty. Something that's going to grow low to the ground. Yeah, beets will probably do good in the soil. All right, so we got that Romanesco in there. I have one more Romanesco that I need to get in, and I think I'm going to put it over there. Right next to that tomatillo. And I do still have some onions that I started that I need to get out here as well. So let's see. Move this soil around a little bit. Can't y'all tell I love playing in the dirt? Get rid of some of these roots. All right, so I'm gonna put it closer over here. That tomatillo is not gonna be there much longer. Bone meal, blood meal, Romanesco. And these were started on 820. We got that in. All right, so now all that's left is I got a couple of celeries that I want to get into the ground. A red rhubarb Swiss chard that needs to go in. The red rhubarb Swiss chard is going to go over here in the bed with my pole beans. Now this red rhubarb Swiss chard, I did not start from seed. I actually got this from my coworker's nursery. And the reason being is every red rhubarb that I've planted, every red rhubarb Swiss chard that I've planted this year has died. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's me. Maybe the plants just didn't have what it takes. I don't know. But I'm going to try this one last time. And before I do that, I want to add a little something to this soil. It's feeling kind of compacted. Let me check it again. Yeah, it's holding its form pretty good. And I want the soil to drain a little bit better than that. So I'm gonna add a little bit of perlite. Let me grab my perlite. Yeah, I need a little bit more, and then I need my pitchfork. Ooh, I need a mask. All right, I got my fork. Let me mix that up a little bit. Yeah, it definitely needs it because look at that. Look at these chunks of soil. I don't want to add too much, so I'll add this. Get back there too. Whoops, wrong one. And then if need be, I can add a little more later. Like I said, I don't want to overdo it. One, because I already got plants in this bed. And I don't really want to disturb their roots, but I do want to get this soil to where it holds some moisture, drains some moisture, and allows my plants to breathe. And with that soil compacted like that, they can't. I'm going to put a little more, and then that'll be it. Oops. Well, that didn't really turn out to be a little, did it? Peat moss does the same thing, but peat moss has a tendency to change the pH of your soil. And I don't want to do that. So, all right, we got that perlite mixed in. The soil should drain a lot better now. Still quite compacted, so I'm not going to water this once I put it in there. Yeah, I could probably put a little more, but I'm not. Allow it to dry out a little bit and then I'll see. But it does also makes the soil a little fluffier. So, all right, that's enough. Let me add my bone meal, my blood meal, and y'all wish me luck with this one. Because like I said, every red rhubarb that I've had this year has died on me. And I think it is so gorgeous to have that red in the garden contrasting with all the green. So here we go. Ooh, look at those roots. It is very much ready to be in the ground. And I think this is more than one plant, but I'm not going to separate them. Dig it a little deeper. Get that in there. Also wanted to drop a couple more bean seeds in here. These don't seem to be looking all that healthy. So I don't know. Maybe I'll drop some a little later. All right, we got this red rhubarb Swiss chard in there. Let's see what's going to happen. Now, I do still have this marigold, those couple of celeries. Let's see what else is in here. Nothing, that's it. So I want to get these in place. I'm going to put this between the two cauliflowers because I already have a marigold over here on this end in that back corner back there. So I'm going to put another marigold over here on this end, but I'm going to put it between those two cabbages. Well, the cabbage and the cauliflower. This one's already got some that have flowered and dried up. Pull those off. And get this into the ground. All right, we got our marigold in there. Still got a little space for maybe some carrots or radishes in here, or maybe even some onions. And then my 2 celeries, I'm gonna go ahead and put those back there in that bed. Actually, I'm gonna go in the house, grab a packet of carrot seeds so I can sprinkle them out here. So y'all give me just a second. All right, so what I did grab instead of the carrots are these Japanese minowase daikon radishes, and I'm gonna plant these instead. Radishes and the cabbage family do grow well together. And then while I was in there, I went ahead and grabbed these Good Mother Stallard beans. These are the ones that I said I wanted to plant more of over there on my cattle panel trellis. And so I'm gonna drop a few of those while I'm out here as well. But let me sprinkle these Japanese mayonnaise daikons. These Japanese radishes grow really huge, and so they are good for aerating the soil and improving the soil structure. So I'm going to do a couple of these. And what I will do is on my second cattle panel trellis, which is over there still with the melons on it, which I need to remove because I don't think they're going to grow anymore. It's a little too cool out here. Um, but on that trellis, I'm going to plant some peas. And what I will do in there with those peas is plant some carrots, because carrots and peas grow well together as well. They're good companion plants. So back to where I wanted to sprinkle those the Japanese minowase daikon. I'm not sure how to say it. You guys let me know if I said it right or wrong in the comments. Okay, this is a root crop. I am forgetting to sprinkle in my bone meal. Not only that, the reddish is also is good for pests. So you're not only companion planting for the soil aeration, but also to get rid of the pests. All right, I think that's enough. I'm a little heavy-handed, y'all. I can't help it. Let me mix this in a little bit. All right, so I want to make sure I remove the drip irrigation hoses so I don't sprinkle seeds on the drip irrigation hoses. I want them to come in contact with the soil. I am not going to cover them. I am going to lightly sprinkle them with vermiculite, and then I will come out and thin them out if I need to. I definitely want there to be plenty of them so I can make me some kimchi. This is a good spicy radish to make kimchi with. All right, I think that is plenty. Let me put these in my pocket. Let me grab the water hose and water those in. My drip irrigation is not on, so this stuff will not be overwatered. It's been off for a couple of days. I had some issues with it because this bed here was getting so much water. The water was draining out the side of the raised bed. And I was like, that is such a waste of water. And then when I saw my water bill, I realized how much of a waste it was. So the drip irrigation is off until I can figure out what's going on with it. But there we have it. This bed is finished. I'm going to wait for my daikon radishes to come up before I decide to put anything else in this bed because it still looks like there's plenty of space to plant. But in actuality, because I just sprinkled those seeds, um, you may or may not have more room to plant. If anything, I would probably add maybe some alyssum because I started some alyssum too. All right, so the last thing that I need to get planted today is going to be these 2 celeries. Celery, onion, anything in the cabbage family does really well together. They're good companion plants. And so, oops, I'm going to go ahead. I got some onions here. I'm going to go ahead and drop a celery over here as well. I may dig some of these onions up and move them somewhere else, but I'm going to put the celery right here. One of them anyway. Celery is something that requires heavy, even watering and full sun. Although you can put it in partial sun, it'll just take a little bit longer to mature. All right, so we got that celery in there. It's good to go. And move on with my second celery. I guess I'll put it over there. That way it's not directly between these 2 cauliflowers, but it is within the vicinity. So they'll have room to grow, and so will the celery. There's an onion right there. Celery does prefer cooler temperatures. Last year, I think I grew my celery all the way from maybe November, December, all the way up until April when I finally harvested it, and it was huge. It was delicious. I still have some in the freezer now, which is what I was counting on. That's why I grew so much of it. So I won't have to buy celery to get ready to make my Thanksgiving dinner. I do have some more celery that's in the house. I got that Chinese pink celery. And then I also have some regular Utah tall celery that I'll be having to put out in the garden soon. I need to get those separated. They're all planted in one 4-inch planter. And so I'll be separating those, giving them a little time in their own little space, and then putting them out in the garden as well. All right, so we got everything else planted. I'm sure I'll be adding some more stuff because like I said, it looks like I still got a little bit of space and I want to take full advantage of it. Let's drop a couple more bean seeds. I got some Swiss chard here. I got some rutabagas in there. And then, like I said, I do want to drop a couple more bean seeds. These beans don't look all that healthy. These, on the other hand, look way better. So let me drop a few more of these Good Mother Stollards. Four. I think I'll do about 4 of them. 2 over here and maybe 1 or 2 more over here. So I see a spot where I can take that cucumber out. 2 on this side. And then it looks kind of crowded over here. But like I said, some of these beans don't look all that healthy. So I want to add another 2. So I'll do 2 on each side. I'm going to dig this one right here. Okay, this soil feels pretty good. I want to add a little more. It looks kind of low. You'll see the wind blew my Swiss chard till there was just absolutely no more left except for one to keep it alive. This was a full healthy plant at one point within the past couple of days. But that when we got that cool front, it brought some really strong winds with it. And so when I came home from work, I actually had to get my greenhouses off the ground. They had flipped over, both of them. And then a couple of my tomatoes had come loose from the tomato clip. So I had to redo those as well. Yeah, let me add a little bit of soil in that bed. It looks a little low over here on this side. I don't like my beds to get too low on soil. I like them to stay pretty close to the top. Oops, whoop, I just broke the last one off. Dang it. Got to be more careful. All right, let's drop these couple of bean seeds here. And these are a cool season pole bean. I'm gonna drop that one right there. That way it's not too close to this one. And then I'll drop this one over here where the cucumbers are. It's a little too late for those, so I can pull those out. You do need a little soil over here as well. All right, drop one over here, and then the other 2 are going on that side. Actually looks like I could drop 3 over here. 1, well, maybe two. I'm going to drop one right here, and then the other one is going to go here. All right. Good to go on those. And these seeds do not require soaking. These bean seeds don't need to be soaked. They germinate very well just dropping them into the soil. Now, the bush beans, on the other hand, I usually soak those before I put them out because I get poor germination rates on those. Looks like I may need to buy another bag of this Kellogg's raised bed soil because it drains so well. I wanted to use it to plant my chamomile in. And I have a pretty good sized bucket for my chamomile, so. Probably use a little more over here, but for the most part, it looks good on this end. So I'm going to drop a couple more bean seeds over here. Put one here. And then I need one more. Put that one here. All right, we're all planted up. All right, good folks, that's it for this video. As usual, I appreciate you guys for tagging along. If you have comments, suggestions, questions, please leave it down in the comment section down below. Also, consider subscribing to my channel to keep up with my gardening journey. In the meantime, I'll be seeing you guys on the next video. Bye.